evening, dear students. Good evening, dear students. Welcome to class 12th. And as you know that today we are beginning class 12 syllabus, biology. And the first unit that is which we are going to deal with today is going to be reproduction. Okay. So the students, I just saw some students come in and go out. So please ask everyone to join the classes. We will be beginning shortly. All right. So hello everyone. Hello St. Paul's. How are you? Hello Shillong Centers. I can see you students on the camera. Yeah. So you all are ready, I believe. Centers, please report your attendance. We'll be beginning now. Dear students, let's get back on the syllabus now because now it's class 12th. I hope you all are ready and I hope you all are excited. And so much for the holidays. I believe you are not very happy that the holidays are over and you have to study so much, okay? But that's a harsh reality we all have to face, that no matter how hard we try, our parents always try to find some excuse for us, something to work in the holidays, right? Okay, so hello Senapati, how are you? Hello Shillong students, how are you? Good evening. Yeah, ready and excited? Yeah, you should be. I am excited for you as well because I believe we will be doing a lot of fun things together. So yeah, it's really something to be excited about. All right, so yeah, St. Paul's, please send your attendance. Shillong, please send your attendance. Senapati and other centers, please report your attendance. Yeah, great. I can see the rooms are so full of sunlight. I believe it's getting very hot in there, right? Because I can see the rooms that you are. Shillong students, your room is so much filled with sunlight. It's literally showing on the screen right now here. It's really sunny and it's really hot, right? Okay, 4 students. St. Paul's, 9 students. Shillong students, I believe they have went out on a break or something. Okay, I think they will be coming in shortly. All right, so let's start. Okay, so today we are going to be beginning Government Mizo School. Please report your attendance as well. Reproduction in organisms. Okay, so by reproduction in organisms, we are referring to the process by which species produce new individuals. Okay. So before we begin about reproduction, let us talk what species in general actually means. Okay. So what is your idea about species? How do you define a species, students? Yeah, Shillong, 5 students. Okay. Please ask the others to come fast. Okay. Yeah, St. Paul's. I really wish that we have a great beginning and a great throughout year. Yeah, a species refers to a group of individuals that can freely interbreed with each other. By freely interbreed with one another, we mean that we see, for example, we talk about dogs. So we have many varieties of dogs. We have St. Bernard's dog. We have Pomeranian. We have the local our village dogs, and we have Labradors, we have Dobermans, and we have Huskies. So all these varieties of dogs, what do they have in common? They can freely interbreed with one another. All right. So because they have the ability to freely interbreed with each other, they are described as single species. And the members of the species that are looking different, we call them varieties. Okay, so there may be different varieties within a species, but all of these members can interbreed with one another. That is why we are calling them as one species. Okay, so species is a group of organisms that can freely interbreed with one another. And on this basis, we have some criteria of reproduction also. So reproduction basically means the production of new individuals, because every year, because of death of old and old individuals, and because of some accidents, because of some diseases, there is a death of some individuals every year. So how does a species make up for this loss? It produces more individuals. Birth of more individuals balances the death. That is why population can increase or it can become stable. Otherwise, population will decrease and species will ultimately die out. Okay, so that is what we mean by reproduction. Reproduction is a process by which a species tries to make up for the loss of death, disease, and sudden loss. Okay, so that is what we talk about reproduction. Okay, so please write quickly. Reproduction refers to the production of new individuals Okay, it refers to the production of new individuals by a species in order to make up for the loss of population due to death, disease, etc. Death, disease, etc. And a species always makes individuals which are similar or exactly similar like itself. What does similar means? Similar means like we are the children of our parents and we are not exactly the clones of our parents. We are different from our parents. Okay, so we are different from our parents and we are different from them, but we look somewhat like them. We have some common in features as well, but we are not exactly the same. So this is called being similar, but exactly similar. For example, there are some fruit crops, there are some fruits like mangoes, apples, which taste the same year after year. Each year they always taste the same. So what does that mean? That means that they are exactly the clones of their parents. We do not want any changes in them, otherwise we will not like their taste, etc. So that is what we try to describe it as. Okay, so the new individuals, we can write the new individuals are similar to parents or exactly like parents. Similar to parents means we are talking about sexual reproduction, and by nearly same, and by exactly same or exactly same, or they are exactly same. Okay, this means the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. All right. So that is what we are talking about here. All right. So now we need to discuss about what is asexual reproduction, or what is vegetative reproduction, and then we need to talk about what is sexual reproduction. All right. So let us first talk about the asexual reproduction. Okay, asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Okay. So can you try to define asexual reproduction? Yes, and Paul's okay. 11 students, great. So can you please try to define what is asexual reproduction? Can you please try to define asexual reproduction, students? Okay. Of course, I understand that you already have an understanding of asexual reproduction, but can you define in strictly technical terms what do you mean by asexual reproduction, students? Yeah, where gametes are not formed and no fertilization takes place. Yeah, very good. No fertilization of gametes, no fusion of gametes, no gamete formation take place. Okay, so we can define it as a single individual is capable of producing offspring in asexual reproduction a single parent or individual is capable of producing the offspring, is capable of producing the offspring. Okay, and there is no meiosis involved, no meiosis involved in asexual reproduction. So we can say that meiosis does not take place. If meiosis does not take place, that means that gamete formation will not be involved at all. Meiosis does not take place. This means gamete formation is absent. Gamete formation is absent, and all the individuals that are produced after asexual reproduction, they resemble the parent, so we call them, they are exactly the clones of their parents. Okay, all individuals produced in asexual reproduction are clones of their parents. Are clones of their parents. Okay, they are clones of their parents. All right, so what types of asexual reproduction that you are aware of? What are the types of asexual reproduction that you are aware of? From class 6th, 7th, 8th, you are studying about binary fission in amoeba. So that is one type of asexual reproduction. Another type of asexual reproduction is budding. Okay, in yeast, what happens is there is a small, you can imagine that there is a large water balloon. From this large water balloon, you are taking a piece out and you are budding it off. Okay, do not imagine it like a water balloon. Think of it like clay. You have a clay model and you make a ball out of it. Now you're making a smaller ball of that bigger mass of clay. Now this is a smaller lump of clay, this is a larger lump of clay. So this has formed from this larger lump, it formed as a bud from the larger lump, it is called budding. This bud will absorb the nutrients for the surrounding medium, it will grow for some time, and it will become equal in size to this one, the older parent. Okay, so this is called budding, and it is present in hydra, it is present in yeast, and there is third type of asexual reproduction we have to study. It is called fragmentation. Okay. What happens in fragmentation is there are fungi, and in these fungi what happens is these fungi are lying on the ground, and suppose an animal walks over the fungus. Now their filament will break into many pieces. Now these pieces, each piece, when it falls on a different area, for example, I am walking over an area and my shoes have fragmented a fungus filament into many pieces. Now wherever I will go by my shoes, the shoes will carry the fungus fragments, and these fragments they will grow at different places. So this is called fragmentation. They will give rise to a whole organism from a single small piece, from a small fragment. So this is called fragmentation. So there are three basic things in lower plants. In higher plants, we have a method of asexual reproduction which is called grafting. Okay, grafting you have already studied, right? Yeah, we can accelerate a bit. Okay, so types of asexual reproduction. Types of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, budding, binary fission, fragmentation. Okay, fragmentation is most common in fungi. Okay, we have binary fission. Binary fission you all know in amoeba. Example is amoeba. Underline amoeba because it's a generic name. We have budding in hydra and yeast. Budding in hydra and yeast. Please remember, budding is very important in case of this yeast. Okay, budding is a very important mode of asexual reproduction in yeast. This is a question. Fragmentation. Fragmentation happens in the case of fungi. Example, fungi. For example, you are scratching your head and there is a fungus population growing in your head, and your friend suddenly wants to shake hands with you and offer you something. You accept her eatables and stroke her cheek or something, okay, or you shake hands with your friend, and so now your friend starts to take care of his hair, and the fungus which was present in your hair has successfully passed to your friend, and now maybe to your enemies as well. So fungus travels by fragmentation. That is the most common method of reproduction. Okay, and this is the reason why people who are sharing small spaces, for example, the same hostel room, they are susceptible to the same type of fungal infection. Okay, for example, if you are sharing room with someone and that particular person has dandruff, okay, because of some reason, some fungus. So it's very likely that the people, other people living in that room, they might get this problem of dandruff as well, if it is due to a fungus. Okay, dandruff has many reasons. One of the reasons may be a fungal infection. Okay, so that is also possible. Yeah, I will bring up the previous year questions, but from reproduction, not much questions as such. In vegetative propagation, you will get some questions. I will just tell you, vegetative propagation, you have some questions. Okay, that is an important thing. So now we study about vegetative propagation. This is very important. Vegetative propagation. This is a much important part than other parts. Vegetative propagation. Now what happens in vegetative propagation? I will tell you. In vegetative propagation, and there is a vegetative propagation, one plant part can give rise to one plant part can give rise to new plant parts. By vegetative buds, or they are called propagules. Okay. So there are many vegetative propagation methods. We have example. We have sucker, we have leaf, we have tuber, we have rhizome. Rhizome happens in the case of ginger. Okay. Tuber in the case of potato. Okay. And leaf in the case of, good evening, Itanagar. How are you? You came a bit late, but it's okay, no problem. Leaf in the case of bryophyllum. Bryophyllum you must have seen in your school. This is a plant which has a very thick fleshy leaves, and each leaf has many small plantlets. Whenever this leaf falls on the ground, it can give rise to many new plants. But then the question you might ask is, sir, if this is possible, why is not the whole world covered with this type of plant only? This is because of competition, and this plant is slow growing. Other plants are fast growing, so this is why this plant is not present everywhere in the world. Otherwise, because this plant has the capability of fast reproduction, it could have spread in the whole world. But we see it very less. Reason is it is slow growing. Now there is the case of bulbils. Bulbils are present in agave. Agave you must have seen in, for example, State Bank of India, the main branch on the state branch. What happens is they have huge gardens, or there is a garden of your chief minister. You will always find agave plants in the center of it because it's used as a ornamental. It has huge leaves. Okay, it has huge leaves. Now there is one important plant which causes water pollution and it propagates by vegetative reproduction. It is called water hyacinth. It's not the biological name. Its biological name is Eichhornia. Eichhornia crassipes, or terror of Bengal. Terror of Bengal because it grows so fast, it clogs the river streams and it blocks the water channels for transport, etc. There is a whole lot of problems. Okay. Now there are the things: tuber, offset, bulb, sucker. Sucker is present in banana. This you must know. Banana plant propagates by suckers. Okay. Now there is one more thing. There is one more method. It is called grafting. Grafting comes under asexual reproduction, and it's a very important part. Even in class 10th it was important. Now also it's important. Now I will ask some basic conceptual questions from you. Grafting means I will cut the stem of one plant at one point. I will cut the stem and I will take the top part and put it on the top of another plant with having the same diameter of the stem. I will put it on the top of it. Okay, and after some time, this stem which is from different plant, this lower part which is from different plant, they will join together. This is called grafting. Now what is the use of grafting? I will tell you what is the use. I know of a tree which produces 24 varieties of mangoes on a single tree. How is this possible? Can you guess? I have seen a mango tree which produces 24 different varieties of mangoes. Each branch has a different mango. Okay, 24 or 25, there are 25 branches. Out of these 25 branches, each branch, or let's say all the 25 branches, have different kind of mango, different flavor, different size. How is this possible? Grafting. But how will you grafting? Is it possible on a large tree? Genetic breeding? Genetic breeding? No, not by genetic breeding. If you do genetic breeding, you will get high yielding variety of mango on a single plant. Number of mangoes is increased. Genetic breeding principle is to increase the number of fruit seeds and the size of the fruit. That is the principle of genetic breeding, or increasing the disease resistance. The answer is grafting. Okay. What happens is, now please try to understand. I will take 24, 25 different branches, okay, and I will take 24 to 25 different trees, okay. I will select a stem of suitable diameter which is capable of having the same diameter as this, so that they can easily join together. Now you know that in dicot stem, cambium tissue is present. Cambium is meristematic tissue. It is absent in monocot vascular bundles. But in dicot vascular bundles between xylem and between phloem, cambium is present in the middle. This cambium is meristematic tissue, so if you put another stem on top of it, if you cut the stem, put another stem on top of it, this cambium will join the two stems together. They will become one. Are you getting me? Alright, yeah, grafting can be done by the branches also. So what will happen is, I have taken the branches, I have cut the branches, I have taken another branch of a tree that I desire, of the fruit which I know that this is a very good fruit coming from that tree. I will take that branch, I will join these two together, I will place these two together, and I will put some wet soil on top of it, wet soil or cow dung on top of it, tightly tie them together with the help of rope, and cow dung helps in faster regeneration. We don't know how that happens, or you can use clay also, but clay experiments are not very successful. They tend to suffocate the plant. Cow dung, in some ways, it's not clear how. It helps in the plant to regenerate and produce cells rapidly. And the rapidly producing cambium cells, they will seal the two parts together. The vascular bundle connection will be formed between branch of this one and the branch of this one. They will join together, and we can take 24 branches, 25 branches, 50 branches. Each will produce different kind of mango on that particular branch. Okay, yeah, that is a very fascinating principle. Not only mango, we have different orange variety trees also. For example, I have heard of a tree in Singapore which produces 5 different varieties of mandarin and citrus fruits on a single tree. 5 different varieties of, let's say, suppose one is a kinno, another one is a citrus mausambi, another one is an orange, another one is lemon, another one is mandarin. Okay, all these have different fruit sizes. So all these are produced on a single tree. Okay, so that's possible. Now my question to you is, if grafting is possible in branches, why? What is the principle of for example, try to understand this. Why do we do grafting? We can take a rose branch. Okay, suppose your neighbor has a good variety of rose tree. He has a hybrid variety of rose tree. Now you know that tree is very good. So you can say that suppose you have a family and somebody decides to break a branch, okay, and you take this branch with you and put it in the soil. Now what will happen? It will immediately, normally it happens also, if you take this branch and put it in the wet soil, normally roots will appear within 1 or 2 weeks. Now this will grow into a full plant. Why do I need to do grafting on a mango tree or a apple tree or a citrus tree? Can you understand the reason? Can you understand the logic? Shows pictures. To show the 25 different varieties on a single picture, it will be difficult, but I will show you a different picture. Yeah, in the next class, I will show you the pictures. Okay, I'll show you some pictures how 2 or 3 different varieties are present in a single photo. It was very difficult to show a panoramic 3D picture, 360 view picture. Okay, yeah, but I will show you pictures. All right. So why do I need to do grafting on a mango tree? I can simply take a branch, break it, and put it in the soil. It will grow into a tree. What is the need of grafting? No. If you take a branch and put it in the soil, it will develop into a tree faster. To increase the flavor? No. No, that's not the logic. That's not the logic at all. There is some other thing that you're forgetting. It's related to morphology. It's related to morphology. Okay, I'll explain it. What happens is, see this picture. What happens is, I take a seed, a mango seed, I put it in the soil and allow it to grow into a tree. Allow it to grow into a tree. So suppose this has become 2-3 meters in height. Okay, I have allowed it to grow into a tree. All right, I have allowed it to grow into a tree. Now this root which is present here, this is a tap root. This is a tap root. Suppose you take a different branch, you cut a different branch, we will apply the cut here, okay, and this was a properly growing tree. It has become 2-3 years in age. Now what I have done is, I have applied a cut and now it looks like this. Okay. Now I have done a very light green color on that. That's not very suitable, but it will do the purpose what we are trying to do here. Okay, so this is the stem part. Okay, I can make it brown, I can make it green. I wanted to make it green because young stem is always light green in color because of chlorine chyma. Now the lower part, now I will draw it in violet color or something else. Now this lower part is a taproot. Now please try to understand, whenever a seedling grows into a full-fledged plant, it will give rise to radicle and plumule. Plumule grows into a strong shoot, radicle grows into a strong root. Alright? But if I take a branch and put it in the soil, the type of root which will come out from that, it will be an adventitious root. It will be an adventitious root. So if you are growing a rose plant from a stem cutting, putting in the soil, it will grow the root. The type of root which will develop there, that is adventitious root. Now this adventitious root is unsuitable for a large tree. It is suitable for a small shrub. Rose is a shrub. Mango is a tree. An adventitious root cannot bear the weight of the whole heavy plant, heavy trunk. That can only be done by the radicle based taproot. Taproot is thick, provides good anchorage, provides water minerals up to a large depth. Okay. Now this plant is firmly anchored in the soil. It is a tree. Now suppose you are making a tree from adventitious root, what will happen? Suppose a wind is flowing in a fast speed of about 50-60 kilometers per hour. Now this mild speed, it's not very huge. This speed of air, or suppose 30 kilometers per hour, that is a mild speed. 50-60 is a gale. It's a medium speed gale, nearly equivalent to a small storm. Now this 30 kph air, wind, this will easily topple this plant because it's adventitious root. It will easily topple the plant. The plant will be dead because it cannot remain firmly anchored to the soil. It has weak root system. This is the reason why we do grafting on a well-developed plant. In case of trees, rose grafting is easy, no problem with that, but we normally do grafting in case of trees when they are fully grown. So we do apply a cut, and now I am going to place another new plant on top of it. Okay. Now these two will be joined by the combined action of the cambium. With the help of cambium, they will be joined together. This is the point of contact. Now this part I am going to cover with wet soil or cow dung. Okay. And these two plants, okay, they will be ultimately joined together in a single plant. The bottom part belongs to plant formed from seed. Plant formed from seed. The upper part is the desired part which bears good variety of fruits. Part which is a cutting from desirable plant or tree. I hope you get the idea. Okay, so this is what grafting is all about. Now grafting can be done on main stem of young plant, or we can do on any branch of any tree with replaced by the different branch of same species of trees. We cannot put apple branch on a mango tree. That is not possible, okay? We cannot have mangoes on apple trees. But we can have mangoes on mango trees, different species of mangoes on single tree, different species of apple on single apple tree. That is what is possible. Okay, so that is about grafting. Grafting is very important. Why do we do grafting? Why do we not take directly the advantage of adventitious root system? Because if we do that, the plant will be very weak. You can write grafting is performed. Sir, by grafting St. Paul's, you have asked questions. We can get a better yielding shoot to a stalk. But to increase yield, we can use the genetic engineering technique also. Explain their difference. Okay. The thing is, genetic engineering, if you use that, okay, if you use the seeds, each seed will have a different taste, different aroma, different size. You cannot control it specifically. Okay, you cannot control a minute precision on that. But if you use the vegetative reproduction technique, you cannot get disease-resistant plants. By genetic engineering, our target is to create disease-resistant, high-yielding variety. But by grafting, our main purpose is to produce a plant with same characters. We do not want different characters or better characters. We want same characters. We do not want difference here. I want to eat the same mango that I used to eat in my childhood. Same flavor, same aroma. That is my principle of grafting. But my principle of genetic engineering is I want to eat a chapati which is having more protein and grows easily. It is cheaper than the chapati I used to eat 10 years ago. That is the difference. I want to get a grain variety of wheat which is high yielding, which is disease resistant, which is cheaper, okay, which is better than what I was used to eating 10 years ago. But grafting is performed in fruit trees. Fruits are different from cereals or vegetables. Vegetables and cereals, you want a high yield. But fruits, you want a high yield. But the high yield method, to increase the yield, you use different techniques. Okay. But what you do not want is that the change in taste should not be very significant for me to notice. I do not want to eat a tasteless apple which is high yielding. I will tell you, this is a thing which is happening today. Monsanto is a genetic engineering company, and it excels at producing food crops which has high yield potential. High yielding potential is huge. They produce high yielding rice varieties, they produce high yielding corn varieties, but the problem is you cannot eat this rice. Even animals do not want to eat this rice. It is so distasteful, it is so unnutritious. Okay, so what do we do with it? It's very highly inedible. It's basically inedible. We cannot eat it. Animals eat it with difficulty. Okay, they also do not like the taste of it. It's so bad. But it's a high yielding variety. So that high yielding variety should not be of that kind that I am not able to eat it. That will be a failure. Okay. And right now, in the case of most food crops which are developed by foreign biotech companies, same thing is happening. The people are rejecting them because they have no taste. There was a high yielding apple variety, but the problem was it does not have any taste. Nobody is going to eat it if it is tasteless. There is no use of getting a high yielding variety. So flavor, aroma is more important than the size and the number of the fruit in the case of fruits. Not so in the case of cereals. You are saying if we use grafting, we can get the same variety as a scion. But can gene transfer do the same? No, gene transfer means meiosis. You will always introduce a change, and you cannot predict that this change will cause the same effect which you are predicting. The change can happen in a very different ways. So that's not going to do the same thing. When I teach you genetics, I will be able to tell you better. But gene transfer, it will not be able to do the same techniques as the grafting. Okay. Also, you might be able to do what you want to do, but the problem is you will invest so much resources, so much money in it that nobody will be able to buy the seeds if you are able to get it. Okay. Ultimate purpose of genetic engineering is to study and make new varieties which will be more edible, which will be more easily consumed. But right now we have been getting very little success. The rate of success is very low. In the case of chili, can we do grafting or not? Yes, you can do grafting in the case of chili because it is a dicot plant. It's a dicot plant, but it will not be very successful. It has a bicollateral vascular bundle, out of which one cambium is open, one is closed. But you can do it, it's possible. In any dicot, you can do grafting. Grafting is performed usually in the case of fruit trees. Genetic engineering is for cereal crops. Grafting, yes, grafting can only be done in species having cambium. This means that grafting cannot be done in case of monocots because monocots do not have cambium. Grafting cannot be done in monocots. No exception. Cannot be performed in monocots because they have closed vascular bundle. Okay. All right. So let's come on to our main thing. All right. So reproduction, when we talk about reproduction, in asexual reproduction, you get the idea. Okay. Now let's talk about the sexual reproduction. Okay. So sexual reproduction, I believe ma'am is already taking it. You will be getting classes in the sexual reproduction, human reproductive system soon from her if she hasn't started it yet. So my part is to talk about reproduction. So I will be starting sexual reproduction now. Sexual reproduction in animals. Why not in monocots? Look, I told you in monocots when I was teaching you anatomy, monocots have no cambium. They have scattered vascular bundles. In the case of dicots, vascular bundles are arranged in a neat, organized ring. But monocots, there is no order. The vascular bundles are scattered all over the ground tissue. Because they are scattered all around and they have no cambium between xylem and phloem. Alright, they have no cambium between xylem and phloem. That is why this is happening, that you place one monocot branch on the top of another monocot branch, but there will be no effect. There is going to be no effect. The upper part will die. It cannot produce anything. Okay. So now you are asking me explain offsets. Okay. Offset, look. Offset is a manner of vegetative propagation in which one part, the bottom part of the plant gives rise to a small structure. It will elongate and grow into a new plant. Okay. Offset. I am not sure if you are satisfied. Look, I will try to explain better. I have to produce a new plant, but I want to produce a new plant, but my problem is this plant should be a complete set. So I will give a small shoot, small root, and a small stem system. Okay, and this is called a small plantlet. Okay, this is called a small plantlet. This plantlet can grow into a new plant if I detach it from this plant and place it somewhere else in the soil. Okay, or suppose it will detach by itself from the parent plant is going to die. Now this can produce a new plant. Okay. You have seen, for example, you know about lilies. You know about lilies. If you have a lily growing somewhere, lilies will produce new lily plants on the surrounding area. Okay, that is an example of offset. Underground, there is a small mini plant growing from the base of that plant, and that plant grows into a new plant. This can again divide, produce a new plant, and this is how it will spread over a wide area. Okay, this is what happens in the case of offset. Lily, tulip, many plants are growing by that. Okay, let's continue. Sexual reproduction. So by sexual reproduction, what do we mean? Simply we can say two parents involved. Okay, it's a in sexual reproduction, two parents produce gametes which combine together to form a new individual. To form a new individual. Now what's in our course and what the question are usually asked? The questions are asked that please describe how this animal is going to undergo reproduction, specifically sexual reproduction, or they will give you a name of a particular method and they will ask you about it, that is this sexual reproduction or is it asexual reproduction, and what are the details of this particular type of reproduction. But okay, St. Paul's, you are asking me that can be runner. Look, there is a difference between runner and offset. Runner does not produce a new plantlet. Runner is present in the case of grasses. Have you seen grasses? They produce nodes. They do not produce plantlets. A small plant, mini plant is not present at the end of the horizontal running stem. That is the difference. Alright? Runner is different, offset is different. In offset, for example, in banana, a new plant is formed near the base of the parent plant. But in case of runner, a new plant is formed some distance away and it is not a mini plantlet. It will first grow a root system, then a new plant will be formed which is still attached to the structure. And this will branch out. This will produce new branches. These branches will also give rise to new plants whenever they come in contact with the soil. It grows parallel to the surface of the soil. And whenever it comes in contact with the soil, that point is called a node. So only from node, a new plant will appear after root system and shoot system. Runner is very different from offset. Please do not confuse the two. Offset is mini plant. Runner is part of the plant growing outside, there is a difference. All right, so we all know events or happenings in sexual reproduction. Events in sexual reproduction are, first of all, we have to produce the gametes. Gamete formation, or gametogenesis. Okay. Then we have the second product, look, after gamete production, we have the fertilization. Okay. So the pre-fertilization event and the post-fertilization event, two types of events are there. Okay. So gamete formation, pre-fertilization event is gamete transfer. We have to transfer these gametes once they are formed. Okay. And the third step is fertilization. Fertilization. After fertilization, what will happen is, this is pre-fertilization event. These are pre-fertilization event. Now what are post-fertilization event? Formation of zygote, formation of embryo. Formation of embryo. All right, so that is what is happening here. Okay, any doubts up till this part? So let us begin it, and it will be over quickly. All right. Okay, so I believe you all are ready. Okay. So some common methods of sexual reproduction in animals. In earthworm, it is hermaphrodite. For example, in NCERT, some figures are given. Earthworm is hermaphrodite. Any animals which is hermaphrodite means it possesses male parts also and female sexual parts also. Okay. In case of plants, in the case of green algae, there is one member called chara. In whole plant kingdom, in case of chara, first of all, sex organs have appeared. That is why it is unique. Okay. So first, let us talk about the pre-fertilization events. Okay, or the gametogenesis. Gamete formation or gametogenesis. Okay, so gamete formation refers to the formation of haploid set of chromosome containing cells. Okay. Gamete formation refers to Formation of gametes by meiosis formation of gametes by meiosis to produce cells containing haploid sets of chromosomes. Okay. All right. So the gametes are formed. Now they are ready for fertilization, but before fertilization can happen, we must transfer these gametes from one place to another. Now my question begins. Can you please tell me, right from the beginning of from the beginning of plant kingdom, how are gametes transferred from lower plants to the higher plants? Can you describe how gametes are transferred in case of first member of plant kingdom, which is green alga? Can you please guess? Come on, students. Updated attendance, 17 students present. Great. St. Paul's. Okay. Shillong, you are asking me, sir, offset is like a water cabbage. Close. You can describe it as water cabbage. If the parent plant is similar to the plant leaf, plantlet, then you can call it offset. Okay. What I can do is I can give you some pictures or maybe a presentation. Let me see. Okay, about reproduction methods, and I can include some pictures about different trees and all that. Okay. So I asked you a question. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll give you some pictures that will help you better in understanding offset and all that. Okay. So please tell me. Please begin from plant kingdom, lower members, and proceed to higher members of the plant kingdom. You have to explain to me how gamete formation happens and in which part. Begin from algae, then move on to bryophyta, then pteridophyta, then gymnosperm, then angiosperm. Okay. So please begin from before bryophyta, that is alga. So how are gametes formed in alga? Come on, please try. There are three types of alga: green alga, brown alga, red alga. But for most purposes, when we talk about alga, we normally talk about green alga. So how are gametes formed in green algae? Can you take a guess? Can you take a guess? It's not difficult. So can you please take a guess? Come on. No response. Okay, I'll tell you. Algae are aquatic, so they will produce their gametes and they will produce their gametes and they will release their gametes in the water. They will produce their gametes, they will release their gametes in water. And these gametes, they will meet together in water itself. They will undergo fertilization in water. And then a new plant will be formed whenever they drop out of the water current. Alright. So what is happening in algae? In algae, you will say that there are gametes which are produced inside the individual cells. Algae are filamentous. Green algae is like a filament. Okay, there are lots of ponds, there are lots of water bodies in northeast. Okay, and you must, everybody knows swimming, right? Everybody knows swimming. Okay, I'm not asking you to swim in Brahmaputra. I know what kind of wild river is Brahmaputra, but do you know how to swim in the quieter ponds in the still ponds. Okay, you do not. I believe everybody should know swimming. Okay, but if you do not, you must have visited ponds. You must have seen green alga growing from the bottom part of the ponds. Yes? Okay. There is, look, I'm not talking about North India. Here almost every water body is polluted. Still I have seen green alga in case of rivers which are cleaner. For example, I have seen green alga in case of Ganga river. So you must have, you have a lot of water bodies around yourself. Okay. Now in case of ponds or lakes, you might have seen near the where the water touches the land, at that part there are some green filament like structures floating on the water or inside the water. These are green alga. Okay, so green alga, they are aquatic. They are going to produce their gametes in these filaments, and these filaments, these cells will burst and they will release the gametes. They will come together, they will form new individual. Yeah, you are asking me the red water bodies are due to Gonialax, red alga. Yeah, algal blooms are due to Gonialax and Gymnodinium, two alga. But there are, please wait, these are not red alga. These are dinoflagellates. These are protista, not red alga. Please do not confuse it. Red alga do not cause red water bloom. That is actually due to dinoflagellata, and dinoflagellata is a protista. It is not alga. Okay, Gonialax and Gymnodinium are members of dinoflagellates. Okay, St. Paul's. I hope this clears it. All right. Okay, so let's move on. So gamete formation in alga, in the case of, they are produced in the cells itself. Now in case of green alga, one alga is there, chara. If you have your NCERT books with you, please see a figure. There is a alga drawn. It is chara. I'll give you the figure. Don't worry about it. I'll give you my notes. So in this alga called chara, globule and nucleole, plant sex organs are formed first of all in chara, green alga. Not every green alga has sex organs. Not every red alga will have sex organ. Not every brown alga will have sex organ. But in one member, we see sex organs. The name is chara. So if alga do not have sex organs, what will happen? They will not produce their gametes in jacketed body. They can produce it in any cell. In higher plants, we try to protect this cell. We want to protect this cell from the predators, from anything which can cause harm to this cell. Okay, so how do we protect it? The gametes are always protected by a multicellular jacketed body. Yeah, St. Paul's, yes, that's an exception in chara. Okay, let me continue now. Gamete formation. In green alga or alga. Where does it take place? Inside cells of filament. Inside the cells of the filament. Okay, or in case of most alga, in the cells of filament. This means that sex organs are absent in alga. Male and female sex organs are absent in algae, but there is an exception, and the exception is chara. Okay, all right. Now, gamete formation after green algae, which group comes? Bryophyta. So please tell me gamete formation in Bryophyta. Where does gamete formation in Bryophyta take place? Can you please guess? Can you please guess? Can you please guess? Yes, students? Gamete formation in Bryophyta takes place in male and female sex organs called antheridium and archegonium respectively. Sex organs are absent but gametes are formed. Explain the process. Okay, if you want it, I'll explain it. Let's wait a bit. St. Paul's, you are asking a question, I'll explain it. I will take the case of a green alga. The name is Eulothrix. The name of this green alga is Eulothrix. In Eulothrix, collar-shaped or girdle-shaped chloroplasts are present. They look like shirt collars. Okay, so this is a bad figure. Let me draw it. It's actually elongated. Actually, let me draw it properly. It's not elongated. Yeah, that will be more proper. There are many cells in Eulothrix. Okay. Now, at the time of sexual reproduction, what will happen is, in this cell, I am taking one cell out of many filaments, one cell out of many cells. Inside this cell, there is a green content. There are chloroplast is present inside this. It is greenish in color, and inside here, nucleus is present. This is the nucleus. Now, what happens is it undergoes a type of change in which it undergoes mitosis. Now, because of mitosis, many unicellular motile gametes are formed. These are male gametes. These are male gametes. Now, beside this, filament, there is another plant of Ulothrix growing here. Now this Ulothrix decides to undergo sexual reproduction with the other plant. So it will start producing inside one cell many different female gametes. Many different female gametes. Okay. After some time, these male and female gamete containing portions, they are going to explode. You will ask me, sir, why is this filament male and why are we calling the other female? Because among two partners, one will always move and other will move less or more. So accordingly, we can decide that these gametes are of which type. By mitosis also gametes can be formed. Yes, gametes can also be formed by mitosis. Gametes can also be formed by mitosis. Okay. Gamete can also be formed by mitosis. So here mitosis is happening, male gametes are formed, female gametes are formed. Female gametes are formed. Now they undergo, this membrane bursts. This membrane bursts. It releases the male and female gametes in the water. Both are attracted to each other because of the presence of some chemicals. They are attracted to each other and then they undergo sexual reproduction. Now by fusion of one by one, four filament containing cell is formed. Now this is called a zygote. These are zygotes. These are zygotes. Now in this each zygote, meiosis will take place. Meiosis will take place. Now after meiosis has taken place, this meiosis is called zygotic meiosis. When zygote undergoes meiosis, it is called zygotic meiosis. Okay. So as a result of this zygotic meiosis, 4 to 8 cell structure is formed, and each structure can give rise to new plant. Okay, give rise to new plant. This is how the cycle continues. This is how the cycle continues. So here fertilization has happened, but after fertilization has happened, now meiosis is happening. Normally in the case of humans and plants, what happens is meiosis takes place before the gamete formation. Here after gamete formation has taken place and even after fertilization, now it is undergoing the meiosis. Meiosis which occurs to form gametes, it is called gametic meiosis. Meiosis which happens to kill the parent, it is called zygotic meiosis. Kill the parent or maybe separate away from it, leave the parent, you can say. That meiosis is called zygotic meiosis. Okay, so this is what is happening here. All right. So is this common for all algae or only Urothrix? It is common for all algae. It is common for all algae. In Spirogyra, what happens is it undergoes a form of conjugation called scalary form conjugation. Two filament of Spirogyra come close to each other. One filament passes the whole cytoplasmic content, everything into the, from a tube which is formed between these two filaments, and passes everything into this other filament. Okay, it passes the thing from this to this. So that you already know. Okay, so now let's move on. I was telling you about algae. Now please tell me about bryophyta. Now please tell me about bryophyta. In bryophyta, does sex organ formation take place? Yes or no? And where are the gametes are going to be formed? Please, okay. In bryophyta, in algae, it is the first member of plant kingdom. Algae, simplest plant, thalloid body, no distinction between root, stem, leaf. Next animal, next plant is bryophyta, mosses. In bryophyta, mosses, male, female sex organs are present. So in bryophyta, every member has a sex organ. How are these formed? They are formed from meristematic cells. They have formed these cells. Now bryophyta, you can say the bryophytes gamete formation takes place in the sex organs. Okay, takes place in the sex organs. Male sex organ is called antheridium. And the female sex organ is called archegonium. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Male or sex organ is called antheridium. Archegonium. Okay. If you want to see the figure, I'll draw it quickly. Bryophyta consists of small plants, very small plants. Can be observed with the help of microscope. Now here, one branch side from the side of the plant, one branch arises out. It is called male branch. Male branch. This is we called antheridium. The other branch is called archegonium. Female archegonium and male antheridium. Now, male gametes travel from the male branch inside water film and reach the female archegonium. Okay, are you getting me? They reach the female archegonium. Now, when they reach it, fertilization will happen. Now, the zygote will wait for some time. It will form spore seta capsule, foot seta capsule. And after that, what is happening? Yeah, branch. No, branch is not actually the sex organ. on the branch, on the lower side of a leaf-like structure, a sex organ is present. Whole branch is not going to act as a sex organ. I am calling it female branch because it has female sex organ. I am calling it male branch because it has male sex organ, which is name is antheridium. Branch does not act as sex organ. I hope your doubt is cleared. Okay, so somewhere here, and somewhere here, okay, what is going to happen? There is a formation of female gamete here, male gamete here. It will travel from this part and it will actually meet with this thing, this female egg cell, which is enclosed inside venter canal cell, neck canal cell, and nucleus. So you do not need to know the details. It will be hard for you to remember so many things. I'm just telling you, male branch, female branch, they have undergone something. Okay. Next we have Pteridophyta. Pteridophyta comes after Bryophyta. So please tell me how they are going to reproduce, where the sex organs are located. It should be easy. Come on. In Pteridophyta, sporic meiosis takes place. Can there be multiple sex organs in a single branch? It's highly unlikely they will be in a single branch, but they can be on a single flower. They can be on a single flower. That is possible. Not sure about animals. So in Pteridophyta, where are the gametes found? Gametes are formed inside, yes, I've just taught you about a month ago, formed in, come on, please answer the question. Gametes in Pteridophyta formed in which part? Green leafy prothallus. Do you remember prothallus? Do you remember this heart-shaped structure that I gave you? Not mine. I did not give you mine. I gave you a bryophyte's heart. A pteridophyte's heart, sorry. Okay, so in here, male and female sex organs. Male and female sex organs. In sex organs, inside prothallus. Inside prothallus. So adult plant does not form the gametes. Adult plant does not form the gametes. Which is forming the gametes here? The prothallus. Prothallus represents which generation? Do you remember? Prothallus represents which generation? Sporophyte or gametophyte? Sporophyte or gametophyte? Sporophyte or gametophyte? Gamete forming structure is always called gametophyte. Spore forming structure is always called sporophyte. Please remember this. Okay. So male and female sex organs are making male and female gametes. So I will call this structure as gametophyte. I cannot use this structure in case of algae. It will create confusion. But now I can use this term called gametophyte. Gamete forming. After pteridophyta, which group comes? Gymnosperm, of course. So please tell me, in gymnosperm, where are the gametes going to be formed? You have seen pine cones. There are very beautiful pine cones. On the pine cones, male and female sporophylls are arranged. Male cone is different. It is shorter in case of pine. Pine is a gymnosperm. And female cone is larger in size. Okay. And spiral arrangement of microsporophyll and megasporophyll is present on pine cone. So what is happening in case of gymnosperm? In case of gymnosperm, what is happening is the male and female structures, they are formed in cones. The gametes are formed. Where are the gametes formed? In case of gymnosperms, the female gamete is going to be formed in the female sporangium. Okay, in the female cone. Male in the case of microsporophyll present in the form of cones. You can write here, gametes are usually formed inside cones, male and female cones. Okay. Now what about angiosperms? And angiosperms, you already know the answer. Come on, you already know the answer, right? You need to say it. In the flower. In the flower. Here in gymnosperm, cone is present, but in angiosperm, what is present? It is called flower. Please scroll up. Okay. Is it visible now? Okay. I believe I wrote it in a very bad manner. That is why it is not visible. Gametes are formed in sex organs produced on the prothallus. Okay, just having a little bit of fun. So actually male and female sex organs are present at different locations. At these points, the female sex organs are located, and male sex organs are present in a dot-like pattern throughout the prothallus. Okay, female sex organs are less, male sex organs are more. Okay, all right. Male cone is shorter, female cone is larger. Look, these are spirally arranged. It will be difficult to show how they are arranged spirally. Male cone, female cone. Angiosperms, the gametes I'll explain. I'm very happy for St. Paul's. You are asking so many questions from me. Very happy for you. Yeah, please keep on asking these questions. Please keep your tempo up. I'll explain your doubt. Let me finish this. Gametes are formed in sexual reproductive organ called flower. Sexual reproductive organ called flower. Male gamete is actually formed inside pollen grain, and female gamete is actually formed inside the gynoecium, inside the ovary, in the ovule. You have to go inside. Okay. So you are asking me, St. Paul's, that what will happen after cones are formed? Spores are formed and fused, or what? So in Pinus, male cone produces a large amount of wind pollinated pollen grains. Okay, and these wind pollinated pollen grains are slightly yellowish in color. They will travel from one part to other part, and by chance they land on the female cone. Okay, what will happen here? This will slowly be reached to the center of the plant. It will try to fertilize the ovules. In Pinus and in Cycas, 2.5 years is the time between fertilization and pollination. So after pollen grain has come, 2.5 years will take place. After fertilization and seed formation, everything will happen. It's a very long period of time. In the female cone, when the spores are fused, microspore fuses with megaspore. Microspore means pollen grain male gamete, megaspore means female gamete. Fertilization will happen within 1-2 days, and after that only, after fertilization has happened, the things will change. Sexual reproductive organ called flower. Yeah, without wind, the pollen grains cannot fly. Okay. Male gamete is formed inside the pollen grain. Female gamete, where is it formed? Female gamete is formed inside the ovule or the ovary. Okay, so this is what is happening. All right. So we have covered many plant groups. Okay, we have started from the lower plants. We have continued to the higher plants. You must know where the male gametes are formed. Okay, male gamete has formed. Now next thing will happen, fertilization. After fertilization, post-fertilization event means embryo formation, organ formation, and now the fruit will be traveling from one part to the other part. Okay, all right. So in the case of angiosperms, this is which are the most advanced plants. The male gamete will fertilize the female gamete and the seed formation will happen, fruit formation will happen. Fruit formation is absent in gymnosperm, fruit formation is present in angiosperms. Can you show us diagram related to it? Not right now, but I can show you later. Okay, you can ask me on the WhatsApp, no problem with that. You can ask me on the WhatsApp. I'll show you. I believe I am added to the Azol group. So Azol, just drop me a message. I believe Lunglei. I was recently added to many groups. I was not a part of all the groups before that. So Lunglei, I am added to Lunglei. I am added to Itanagar, Shillong, Naharlagun, Zairo, Azol. I am added to Azol Republic group. So if you post a message here, I'll and Azol St. Paul's, Azol Republic, and Azol GMSS. So drop me a message. Right now I'm not running a slide show. This is I'm just giving you the notes. I'm writing these notes. I cannot add her directly. I'm not the admin. I'm not the admin. Do not worry, somebody will add. Do not worry about that. Somebody will add. Okay. You can send me a message. I'll reply. I'll send you the images later. Right now I'm in the studio. I have to deliver the lecture. I will do these things after that. Okay. I'll do these things after that. Okay. So let us continue. In case of reproduction in organisms, I already told you what we are talking about. We are talking about asexual, sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, so many varieties are present. Vegetative propagation is more important from the syllabus point of view. More questions are asked from grafting and vegetative reproduction than any other type of reproduction. In sexual reproduction, we have many events, pre-fertilization and post-fertilization events. The pre-fertilization events include the gamete formation, gamete transfer. The post-fertilization events include formation of zygote and the formation of embryo. These are post-fertilization events. These are pre-fertilization events. So when we talk about pre-fertilization events, we talk about gamete formation, we talk about gamete transfer. Now, gamete formation, you need to understand how it is happening in the case of lower plants, green algae, how it is happening in the case of bryophyta, okay, and how it is happening in the case of pteridophyta, then in case of gymnosperm, then in case of angiosperm. So now after the gametes have formed, now we have to transfer these gametes. Transfer these gametes involves we do not have to study in great detail in the case of transfer of gametes of the lower plants, but we have to study in let's say not a very great detail, but still in some detail about how pollination happens in the case of gymnosperms and angiosperms. Even gymnosperm part has been reduced. You only have to study about pollination in case of angiosperms. Okay. What about number 3? Number 3 is the event. Number 3 is the fertilization event. There is one thing before fertilization, there is another thing after fertilization. All right. Okay, so we haven't government school Itanagar. We haven't noted down the first part. Actually, I believe you Itanagar students, you came a bit late. You can actually see my lecture again, okay? And when I share the slide, you can take a note from it, okay? So do not worry, I'll share the slides also. Give me a day or two. I'm not prepared the slideshow right now, but I'll prepare it in a day or two, and then you can do it. Note the notes from that slide, okay? Or you can watch my lecture again. Okay, let me continue. We have about 10 minutes now. So in case of angiosperms, there is an important event called pollination. It is in our course. We have to study it in great detail. Pollination means we have to spread the pollen grains from one part to the other part, okay? From one plant part to the other plant part. And how are we going to do it? We can do it with the help of wind, okay? We can water. We can do it by the help of insects. So there are two categories. We will study it in detail in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, okay? Gamete transfer is our main part, but we will cover it in gamete transfer, okay? We will cover this in the case of sexual reproduction in flowering plants, okay? So right now we will only write pollination can occur by abiotic agents. Abiotic agents means wind, water, etc. Wind, water, etc. Or by biotic agents. Biotic means living. So here we talk about birds, we talk about insects. Insect means many types of insects. Honey bees also, other insects also. Birds, insects, anything else? Animals like bats also help in pollination. Bird you already know, hummingbird. You know, it's a very sweet looking bird, very pretty looking, cute looking bird, etc. Even humans can be involved in pollination. Some animals like elephants are also involved in pollination of some flowers. For example, Rafflesia. Okay. So gamete transfer, pollination by wind, water, birds, insects, bats, etc. After that, the second event called fertilization happens. Fertilization is called fusion of gametes. Fertilization or fusion of gametes. So we have to understand in bryophytes and pteridophytes. Now I will have to write the names of the plant groups. In bryophytes and pteridophytes, fertilization happens in water. Fertilization occurs in water. Okay. So water is essential for fertilization. If water is not present, they cannot complete their life cycle. Without water, bryophytes and pteridophytes cannot complete their life cycle. All right. In bryophytes and pteridophytes, fertilization occurs in water. That means that without water, bryophytes will not be able to complete their life cycle. Okay. Now, in case of gymnosperm, angiosperms, there is no essentiality of water. Algae also require water. I must include algae also. In algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, water is essential for fertilization. But in case of gymnosperm and angiosperm, for fertilization, water is not required. Okay. In gymnosperms, where does fertilization happen? Fertilization happens of the egg cell and male gamete egg cell and gamete undergo fertilization, and it is single fertilization only of the egg cell. But what's unique about the angiosperms? In angiosperms, fertilization is of which type? Double fertilization type. 2 times fertilization happens. Two times fertilization takes place. One time of egg cell, other time of primary endosperm, secondary nucleus to form endosperm. Okay, so we'll write here first egg cell plus male gamete, and second secondary nucleus plus male gamete. Okay, this event, secondary nucleus plus male gamete, it is also called triple fusion. It is also called triple fusion. Okay. After fertilization has happened, now what happens is we have to provide nourishment to the embryo. Zygote is formed. Zygote undergoes cell division. Which kind of cell division? Mitosis. Mitosis will happen. After mitosis is going to happen, the structure which is formed, it is called embryo. Embryo needs nutrition. So endosperm's primary purpose is it will envelop the whole embryo. It will cover the embryo from every side. Okay, and this endosperm, it will absorb nutrition from the plant through placenta, and it will give this nutrition to the central developing embryo, and now embryo will transform into, after full development, it will transform into dormant seed. Embryo will transform into food reserve. Okay, embryo will transform into food reserve. In some plants, endosperm is totally finished. These are leguminous plants. In these plants, cotyledon absorbs each and every part of nutrition of the endosperm, and these plants are called non-endospermic seeds. Are you getting me? Endosperm's primary purpose is to absorb nutrition, give to the plant. This is what the plant is going to do. It will absorb the nutrition, it will grow in size, and it will transform into seed. Now seed undergoes dormancy. It will first become dormant because it's not the right season for it to germinate right now. Endosperm will store some food material, that this food material will come in use for the developing seed when it is real time for germination. But in some plants, the development is so fast that endosperm is finished, it is exhausted. These plants are called leguminous seeds. Example pea, example gram seed, Cicer aritinum. Okay. So I will continue this in the next class. Okay, I believe it is time now. So, okay, I'll see you in the next class. All right. Thank you, dear students, and have a good meal. And I'll transfer this slide to you. Okay, I need to do some things, need some changes to be made, and I'll make the slide in 1 or 2 days, and I'll post it in the group. Okay, so no need to worry if you don't have the notes, haven't been able to do it, I'll do it. Okay, thank you so much.